Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're running SAP ECC, Business Suite, or on-prem S/4HANA right now, I want to validate something for you right out of the gate. You're not crazy, and you're definitely not imagining the rising pressure. Across the industry, there's this immense, very real fear brewing. Why? Because organizations are facing what has honestly become an increasingly hostile vendor environment. The German software giant SAP is putting an unprecedented squeeze on their clients. The forced migration timelines are super aggressive, the stakes are incredibly high, and if you're sitting on an ECC system right now, man, that ticking sound you hear, it's real. But here's the good news, you are not trapped. Today we're going to look closely at the data, break down exactly what's going on, and map out a proven escape route.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's the roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The SAP deadline pressure. 2. The reality of RISE. 3. The third-party support alternative. 4. The Agentic AI advantage. And 5. 3 steps to modernize.
Section 1. The SAP deadline pressure, the ticking clock.
We literally do not have the luxury of a decade to figure this out. The early ECC maintenance deadlines, they hit in 2025. Then, by 2027, final mainstream support for ECC and Business Suite products comes to a hard, unforgiving stop, with S/4HANA deadlines coming right after. SAP is rapidly pushing its customers toward an edge here, basically demanding a forced cloud migration that, honestly, a lot of organizations simply aren't ready for.
And what exactly happens if you don't migrate by those dates? Well, you get shoved into SAP's customer-specific maintenance program. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't just some slight downgrade in service. This is a terrifying compliance gap. You completely lose vital legal, tax, and security updates. I mean, think about it. In today's intense regulatory environment, running a global enterprise without guaranteed tax and security patches, that is a massive operational risk. This total loss of a safety net is really the main driver of the fear and anxiety we're seeing across the market right now. To make matters even worse, this extreme vendor pressure is colliding head-on with harsh everyday realities. IT budgets are shrinking. We're seeing a severe talent shortage for these complex SAP reimplementations. And meanwhile, you're bored? They aren't asking for AI innovation 3 years from now. They are demanding it today. Yet, SAP is actively routing the bulk of its new AI capabilities exclusively into SAP Cloud ERP. They are effectively locking away innovation unless you surrender to their subscription-based cloud model. It's a really tough spot.
Which brings us to Section 2, the reality of RISE, promise versus practice. So SAP presents this really compelling, beautiful vision of agility and a seamless SAP Cloud ERP future. Sounds great, right? But the harsh reality is what customers actually end up experiencing. To reach that supposed future state, you have to rip out your heavily tailored customizations, entirely rebuild your processes, redesign your integrations, and go through a full reimplementation. It is a multi-year, high-risk, and extremely high-cost undertaking. And at the end of all that, you're locked into a forced subscription model. You're basically handing SAP total control over your pricing, your upgrade timing, and your innovation path. It's, well, the exact opposite of agility.
Let's move to Section 3, the third-party support alternative, escaping the pressure.
What's really interesting here is the massive consensus in the market right now. According to data from Freeform Dynamics, a staggering 79% of SAP customers value third-party support specifically to avoid forced migrations and move on their own terms. If you're feeling the heat from SAP, this data proves you are absolutely not alone. The vast majority of your peers are actively seeking and actually finding an alternative to the vendor's forced roadmap.
This alternative fundamentally flips the script. It changes your leverage entirely. You get to maintain full, robust support for your current ECC or S/4HANA systems. You get to keep all that custom code and those complex integrations you've spent years, maybe decades, perfecting. Plus, you still receive those critical global regulatory updates, and you get fixes for performance issues. But honestly, the best part? You do all of this while significantly reducing your total support costs. You take back control, you buy yourself precious time, and you actually fund your own modernization strategy with the savings.
All right, Section 4, the Agentic AI advantage, innovating around the core.
You know, you really don't have to rip out a core system that works perfectly well just to get the latest tech. Enter Agentic AI ERP. What this means is layering intelligence right over your stable, existing system. Imagine autonomous agents sitting in an orchestration layer, coordinating processes and automating workflows via APIs, completely without replacing the core itself.
MIT Technology Review Insights specifically highlights that this approach lets enterprises experiment with new capabilities while keeping their platform rock solid. Basically, you get the AI your board is demanding in weeks, not years, and with zero disruption.
And this brilliantly illustrates where the market is heading. An IDC survey shows that 72.5% of respondents have already adopted a composable application strategy. The industry is moving far away from these monolithic, forced vendor upgrades. Instead, they're embracing flexible, modular, composable architectures. It lets you plug and play the absolute best AI tools out there without ever touching your stable system of record.
The results we're seeing from this approach are just staggering. Constellation Research found that early adopters of Agentic AI ERP are experiencing up to a 60% gain in productivity. 60%! And right alongside that, they report a 50% reduction in process time and effort. This proves a massive point. Agility absolutely does not require a forced cloud roadmap or some painful, multi-year RISE implementation. You can achieve massive operational improvements right now, securely on the system you already own and trust.
Finally, Section 5, 3 Steps to Modernize, a Path for CIO Reality.
So the crucial point is that there's a proven playbook for this. Step 1, support and stabilize the SAP core. Step 2, optimize your SAP environment. And Step 3, innovate around the core using Agentic AI. By stabilizing the core right off the bat, keeping it fully supported and compliant, you can actually keep your ECC system perfectly viable well beyond the year 2040. Yeah, 2040.
Let's look at how this builds sequentially. When you execute Step 1, support and stabilize, you immediately eliminate SAP's deadline pressure and you save all those highly valuable customizations. That buys you the breathing room for Step 2, optimize, where you harden your existing infrastructure and simplify your integrations. And because you've successfully hardened the infrastructure, you safely unlock Step 3, innovate. That's where you use APIs to build a flexible ecosystem and automate processes with AI, all without ever destabilizing the core system that essentially runs your entire business. It's an incredibly logical, elegant flow from defense straight into offense.
Which brings us to our final thought today. Will you surrender to a forced migration dictated by a vendor's arbitrary timeline, or will you stabilize your core and modernize entirely on your own terms? The data, the market trends, and the technology all clearly show that the power is actually in your hands. You can escape the hostile environment, keep your stable systems, and lead your company into the AI future safely. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this leaves you inspired to explore how an agentic AI strategy can completely revolutionize your IT roadmap.